Hi, welcome back to Music. My name is Mr. Miller, and I am here today to talk to you about folk music. Folk music is any style of music that is grounded in the culture and history of a group of people. So every people group in human history has their own folk music. And this music is often a part of that culture's identity. It's about the people, the everyday people doing everyday things, their experiences. Sometimes it's about the country, the landscape of the culture. Now, American folk music has lots and lots of regional variations, which we don't have time to go into today. Instead, we're going to look at a couple different songs and sort of try to pick out some common elements that we can find between them. One of the most common things that we'll find in any kind of folk music, but especially American folk music, is the use of stringed acoustic instruments. They can include the acoustic guitar, which we'll hear later, instruments like the mandolin, the banjo, and the violin, or as it's called in folk music, a fiddle. Okay. Now the first song that we're going to learn today is a song from Kentucky called Ida Red. Now Ida Red has a special melody that I want you to pay attention to. It only uses 5 notes. These 5. A 5-note scale. A scale that only uses 5 notes has a special name. It's called a pentatonic scale. And in a lot of folk music, all throughout the world, this is a really common sound that you'll hear over and over and over again. If you know solfege, you might recognize these notes as do, re, mi, sol, la. And the melody of Ida Red uses only those 5 notes. This is what it sounds like. Do, mi, sol, la, so, mi, re. Do, mi, sol, la, so, mi, re. Do, mi, so, la, so, mi, sol, la, so, mi, re, do. I hope you can hear in that how we're using those 5 notes in different ways to create the melody of the song. Let's listen now to Ida Red, this folk song from Kentucky. Listen to the sound of the pentatonic scale in this folk song. Down the road and across the street, can't get a letter but once a week. Ida Red, Ida Blue, I got stuck on Ida too. Down the road and across the street, can't get a letter but once a week. Ida Red, Ida Blue, I got stuck on Ida too. Now the second song we're going to learn today is a frontier song called Old Dan Tucker. Old Dan Tucker comes from a long tradition of tall tales, and it uses nonsense lyrics that are kind of silly. They don't really mean anything, but they sort of tell this larger-than-life story of a guy called Dan Tucker. A lot of folk songs are built from tall tales or have sort of nonsense words. You might know some nonsense lyrics from a song called Oh Susanna. And again, you might recognize a pentatonic scale used largely in the melody. Listen to the words and the melody of this frontier song, Old Dan Tucker. Old Dan Tucker was a mighty man, washed his face in the frying pan, combed his hair with a wagon wheel, had a toothache in his heel. So get out the way, Old Dan Tucker, get out the way. Old Dan Tucker, get out the way. Old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Old Dan Tucker came to town, riding a billy goat, leading a hound. Hound dog barked and billy goat jumped. Dan fell off and landed on a stump. So get out the way, Old Dan Tucker, get out the way. Old Dan Tucker, get out the way. Old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. I hope you enjoyed learning about American folk music today. This style of music really did influence almost every style of music that we play and sing today. It's also an important part of our American history and our heritage. This style of music often reminds us that we share the same experiences and that we can all laugh and cry and talk about similar things. Here's a fun challenge for you this week. Why don't you try writing your own folk song? It can be about your life, it can be about your friends, it can be about something ridiculous or silly, but put your songwriter's hat on and try to come up with a couple of lines that might fit in a folk song like the ones that we learned today. I wrote my own folk song and it's very silly, but it was a lot of fun. So I encourage you to check that out for inspiration. Keep making music at home. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.